Call the Commissioners meeting of the 24th to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately following a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This meeting is being recorded. It will be posted on the county's YouTube channel in the near future and is considered part of public record. Since the last time the commissioners met, we have not had any executive sessions that I'm aware of. There were 2 times that Commissioner Eggleston and I were in the room together, and that was one last night, an event in Tiddy where we honored Carmen Fidel for his service to the recycling center. And this morning we met with the sheriff in order to talk about the needs for his fleet. There's no correspondence that I want to bring to the commissioners. Do either of you have anything? Hearing none, we'll go on to public comment. We have a guest with us today, Rob Dickinson from Penn City Extension. He wanted an opportunity to introduce himself.
Yes,
Have the
thank
floor.
you. I appreciate that. I started with Extension back in January, and so I'm the client relationship manager. I met with Commissioner Morrison and I met with you back in January. And so I have 9 counties, and Warren County is one of those. So I'm trying to be in Warren County as much as I can. But one of the things I want to do is just to give some quarterly updates to you folks. Now, I have a packet of information that will be your nightly reading tonight, and will hopefully put you to sleep, maybe not. But I just want to touch upon a couple different things. We have some new faces in our area. Sherry McCall is our new business operations manager. She will replace Tony Ciliano. So she'll be working with me, and we'll be in to see you folks very shortly. Our Master Gardener Area Coordinator is a Penn State position. It's held up by a gentleman in Clearfield County, but he's been working very closely with the Master Gardeners in our area and with the Master Gardeners in Warren County. And I think he will be a definite asset to give a more local feedback. Finally, Master Gardener position was hired. It's Jean, I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Gomery. And she works for the Conservation District as well. And she's worked out an arrangement with the Conservation District to get hours at the Master Gardener and with her job. So she started July 15th. And then we added a couple new board members. Mike Karate is a former state trooper, lives in Quarry. And then Mike Fitzsimmons lives in Warren here, and he is the owner of Junior Case Trucking out in Clarendon. So they're definitely welcome additions. Program areas, we're gearing up for the fair right now. District qualifier was this past weekend. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate. I know there's been a lot of rain in this area. They'll finish tonight. And then they'll have their 4-H restaurant with the chicken barbecue, along with the dairy and horse shows and the livestock auction. Master Gardener, they are planning a class this fall. And they also will have a display at the fair, and they'll be at the Warren's Farmers Market as well. And each week that they're there, they're having a different theme as well. FNEP is a federally funded program. The educator comes out of Venango. I've been pushing to get an FNEP in Clarion and in Warren County. And University Park has come back and said, if you can get get programming in those areas, we've been more than happy to put that person in there, which would be great because it's not at the county's expense, it's at the federal level, but we're still getting a local person for that. In the meantime, we have McKean County Lori Mulatto coming over, and she'll be working with the Warren Forest Higher Education Council. In that packet, I list the programming that she will be doing over here in Warren County. And then Harry Chrissy, I know you folks have worked with Harry very closely and with the Impressions 42, and he's worked with several local businesses here in town as well. Other programming, Warren County, they're going to do a safe drinking water clinic at the Warren Conservation District, and our water educator, Danielle Ray, will come up from Jefferson County She'll provide that twice. And then Serve Safe will be held on October 9th, and that's at the Extension office. Serve Safe, the PA Department of Ag is changing the rules. It used to be if you had one person Serve Safe certified, that was sufficient enough, but it will change in 2020 that somebody has to be on site at all times that's Serve Safe certified. And then he will be doing the home food preservation, cooking with wild game at the Extension office on October 16th. And then Ag Progress Days will be August 13th through the 15th. You folks should have gotten an invitation for that. Good, I'm glad to hear that. I just want to double check with the system that they're using. So those are the updates that I have. I also included our last board meeting, the packet that we give out to the board members, so you can go over, and if you have any questions, you can contact me. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
By the way, for the board's interest anyway, I believe Mike is a Spring Creek Township resident for the board in this, so he should be a county resident. Any other public comment? So please state your name and municipality. Very good. On the agenda today, we have an amount that we'd like to give to Melissa Zydonik, approval of the children's needs-based budget, and the 3-year lock-in natural gas. Missing anything? All right. Have you had a chance to review the minutes from July 10th? Do they meet with your approval? They do. Very good. Fiscal report.
You have the fiscal report in front of you. We're still maintaining our ability to pay our bills and not having to borrow off TAN yet. Definitely doing better than we have in previous years. We're able to float a few payments, push out a little farther, which has been helpful. And just as a side note, the 2018 audit with our external auditors is about 80% complete.
So that might be done in September?
Yes, which is significantly ahead of, I think, some historical years, of what I've been told. So we're on so far so good.
Good. Questions?
I just appreciate the efforts to reduce the utilization of the TAN. The notion that we're $2 million down from where we normally would be on that is a pretty huge achievement. And for those who can't see the sheet, it's a big. Normally we would have drawn $3 million from the TAN. We've only drawn one. And this is due in large part. Well, it's due in part. It's due entirely to the fiscal office trying to be as clinical as they can be with finances.
Very good. Commissioner Eccleston, would you please read the Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Month?
Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas Stevens-Johnson syndrome is a life-threatening skin condition in which the loss of skin cells triggers the epidermis to separate from the dermis. The majority of diagnoses are idiopathic and have no known cause. The principal source of SJS is linked to the adverse effects of certain medications, which can cause ulcers and lesions in the mucous membranes, conjunctivitis, blindness, organ failure, and death. And in the United States, 300 new cases of SJS appear every year. Adult women are twice as likely as men to contract the disease. SJS can be caused by viral infections, malignancies, and allergic reactions to certain over-the-counter drugs. However, recent trends show antibiotics and sulfa drugs appear to be the leading cause of new cases. It is important to be aware of and research the causes of Stevens-Johnson syndrome because the dermatological disease can often be misdiagnosed as a more common, less fatal skin infection. Now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of August as Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Month in Warren County, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Any comments? Very good. And I would ask for the motion to approve the agenda, the minutes, the fiscal report, and that proclamation.
So moved.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Public comment. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries. Old item, simply the discussion we've had a couple times now about the coroner. I put together a little paragraph here simply saying that she turned in timesheets to me documenting in excess of at least a bare minimum of 200 hours of uncompensated time from December 18th through the end of May. I believe she took over as coroner at the beginning of June, so that'd be right. My recommendation, she took that responsibility on as acting coroner before being sworn in for the 7 months uncompensated. I know $10 an hour is probably not going rate. Nevertheless, I think at least it would be a nod of appreciation for the amount of hours that she put in uncompensated. So I was asking for a $2,000 1099 employee bonus, if you would, be given to Melissa Zydonik for her services rendered.
I'll make a motion to approve the allocation of $2,000 to Melissa Zydonik as a 1099 employee.
I'll second that with questions. Why was she uncompensated but doing the job?
Because the coroner was suffering a medical condition that prevented him from doing the job. So she, as chief deputy, stepped up to do the job. But again, he was still the coroner during that period of time. And she was a 1099 during that period.
She didn't claim any time for that.
She can't. This is the only way to do that. I mean, she did claim certain, there's a $75 per call thing, but that's separate. These are things such as coordinating the Quincy management system, going on calls that otherwise, doing investigations that otherwise the coroner would have done, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Very good. Motion made and seconded. Public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please state aye. 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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. New business. We have Meredith Ketchum from our Youth Department here to present the needs-based plan budget. It's been on review in the Commissioner's office for what, the last 10 days, 2 weeks?
It was published on the 19th, and it's down here at the Commissioner's office and up at our office.
Right, well it was, now it's here.
So it'll be published until August 1st. August 1st, we have a public hearing up at the Children and Youth office at 9:30 where anyone can come and ask questions about the budget. And then the narrative is due to the state by August 15th. And then the Excel portion with the financial piece of the budget is due September 3rd. So this portion that you have here is the narrative portion that explains the progress and the needs that the county had in 2018, what we're going to be doing for this current year, which is our implementation year of 1920, and what we plan on doing for 2021. And in 1819, we had 5 permanencies achieved. We had 4 adoptions, and we had 1 child who returned home. 7 of our IL youth who are active with our independent living coordinator graduated from high school, which is a jump from the year before where we had about 4 or 5, 4 who graduated from high school, 1 who got their GED. We have started implementing some of the things that we said that we were going to last year. We started our drug screens. We started using the CAC for all of our forensic interviews. We collaborated with the school district's career center, and we started a campaign for seeking out foster homes for older youth due to the Family First Act. We've had a couple of significant challenges this year. We have an 89% increase in our truancy referrals from last year, part of it because of Act 138 of 2016, which changed the way the school district has to report truancy. And we've had a 39% increase in our drug abused parent investigations and a 33% increase in our investigations where parents are actually, or any caregiver is giving medications and drugs to children, which is a significant change. This is something new that we've not seen before. And then we had a dramatic increase in our investigations for children who were under the age of 1 who are affected either by being exposed prenatally to drugs or being exposed after being born up until age 1. And some of that is due to the governor's new promotion of doctors and OBGYNs and hospitals calling in and making referrals for children who are exposed to drugs. So we've had an increase in our investigations with drugs, and the drug screens have started helping. We have been screening since May, and we've done about 40 screens, and as soon as we get a positive screen, we make a referral to the drug and alcohol program, and those families are then connected with drug and alcohol services. So for 1920, we're going to continue with that. We're also going to try and create a support group through the agency with our perinatal worker and through one of the SCs through drug and alcohol. We're going to try and do a support group for parents of children who are 0 to 18 where the parents are addicted to drugs, to try and connect them with more supports out in the community and get them out into the community instead of staying home and doing drugs, and seeing that they're not the only ones in that situation, and then giving them positive information to help them continue to move forward. We're looking at it more of a support group. We don't want to replace the drug and alcohol treatment that they need to go to, and they would be referred to that. This is simply just to give them some support and some motivation to continue to have them moving in a positive direction.
Any questions from the board? Any public questions? Come on, that wasn't a drawing. No questions?
And you can hear it all again August 1st at 9 o'clock.
Very good. Today, you're asking for us to approve the needs-based budget narrative, correct?
Yes, and the CWIS computer agreement between us and the state, that runs out in October, but they have us have you guys sign it every year. It needs base time and we need to promote it. It says that you agree, that's the data system the state has for us, so it says that you agree that we will follow all of the rules that we're supposed to follow in order to use the computer program. We have to do a training every year to secure passwords and to tell people that they're not allowed to search for things, but at this point, there's only about 5 people in the agency who even have access to that computer program. It's the one that gives us all of our referrals.
Okay. So to be clear, you're looking for approval of this budget narrative as well as CBIS.
The CWIS
Is that also in here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Last on the agenda, you will see in tab 5 the transaction confirmation on this first page, and then a base contract for natural gas. As I understand it, the solicitor has reviewed this, has a couple of questions and more comments, and so the recommendation that I am looking for is to authorize the fiscal director to sign a transaction confirmation and agreement for natural gas once he and the solicitor are satisfied.
Commissioner, I've had a chance for further discussion with Mr. Hearn, and I'll approve the agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, the base agreement reads like a hedge. However, the transaction confirmation supersedes, specifically the special conditions delete section 4B,
Okay. Oh, I see that, yes.
which are the hedge terms.
Yes.
So I'm satisfied with the way the agreement should operate.
Very good.
And to add to that, just the main difference is historically the county has chosen to utilize a hybrid model for utilization, where about half of the burn tip volumes, they call it, units are fixed, but then the rest can fluctuate. And because of that, the county has at times had to pay additional funds because of underutilization or overutilization. This contract is 100% fixed, and which means there will be no additional dings to the county. Number one. Number two, gas prices are extremely low historically right now. I look back at the last 17 years, and the unit price that we're locking in is better than 90% of the, roughly 90% of the last 17-year months that we've incurred. So this would be a good time to lock this in for the next few years. And that's basically what almost all of National Fuel Resources customers are all doing. We're all locking it at a fixed rate.
Very good. Then what I'm asking for is simply a motion to authorize the fiscal director to sign a contract and transaction confirmation with National Fuel Resources.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion from the board. Is there any public comment? Any other comment?
The only other thing I meant to add was, because it's fixed too, we have a better forecast for budgetary purposes going forward too for the next few years, based on historical averages.
Very good. All those in favor of the 3-year lock-in with National Fuel, please state aye.
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 Motion carries. Personnel transaction report. Since the last time we met, the 22nd, Lisa Barr started as a deputy registered reporter at a rate of $13.60. Elise Bush is now a part-time assistant district attorney, effective August 1st, at a rate of $37.50. Sean McGee has left as a corrections officer effective 15th. And Rick Hernan will be leaving the county as an assistant part-time district attorney effective at the end of this month. Questions? If not, I'd ask for a motion to ratify the personnel transaction report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. 2 quick comments. First of all, I'm working with Bill Gallagher in the IT department to seek out vendors for a new jail management software system. He noted to me a couple weeks ago that the system that we're currently on is about 12 years out of service updates, so we're going to be looking for something that's affordable, ties in with the existing CAD infrastructure that we have, as well as district attorney, PD, and other justice-related departments. So probably in August and September, we'll have a couple of vendor meetings. You'll be invited, of course, and as will the prison board. But wanted to alert you to that. The other is that myself and a couple of the staff have been working on a event for celebration of the bicentennial of the county. We are talking about doing a time capsule, and so if you have any ideas on what you might want in that time capsule, be sure to let Pam know. And we're tentatively looking at the first weekend of October, since that would be nearest to the official date that the county was officially started, which I believe was October 1st of 1819. We have invited the governor. It'll be a few more weeks before the governor can confirm whether or not he'll be attending. But obviously, if the governor is able to make it, we would be adjusting the date and time to accommodate his schedule. Any questions? Any other comments? I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.